where news comes first. This is ABC-7 Xtra.
Welcome to ABC-7 Extra. Good evening. I'm your host, Dylan McKim. For the next half hour, we will be talking about the monsoon season, a time of year when weather patterns change and bring a lot more moisture to our usually arid region than we are used to. Last year's monsoon brought a lot of rain, flooding, and damage. The sights and sounds of monsoon 2021. El Paso saw lots of flooding and damage to the roads. The area of McRae and Gateway becoming a lake. Cars stranded, a woman having to be rescued from the rushing water. And once the water receded, dirt and silt remain, creating what felt like constant cleanup. Over on Paso and Executive, water slowing down traffic, the rains moving trees and other debris around, creating more problems for drainage. We heard from El Pasoans, like this 77-year-old woman, Juliana Vasquez. Her home in the path of rushing water, damaging her property.
It's a beautiful, beautiful place. But now, with all these things happening, it's very dangerous to me.
For one family, the monsoon spelled tragedy. A grandmother and 2-year-old granddaughter drowning inside their home after rushing floodwaters took down a wall. Today, that wall is still damaged. This area of central El Paso, bordered by Justice Street, Mobile Avenue, Nashville Avenue, and Miles Street, sees a lot of flooding when it rains hard. A homeowner in this area tells ABC-7 when it rains hard, her basement fills up with 6 inches of water. El Paso Water sent letters to homeowners saying a study found a new detention basin in this area would greatly reduce flooding. To do that, they would need to buy those properties. In a statement to ABC-7, El Paso Water said, quote, El Paso Water has been in communication with several residents on Nashville and Justice, but no purchases of homes have been made. The utility has identified that a stormwater dam and/or basin could help control stormwater in the area. There are no confirmed plans to build infrastructure because no property has been acquired. Monsoon season runs from June 15th to September 30th. Already this year, up to July 5th, El Paso has seen 1.83 inches of rain. The Climate Prediction Center predicts this year will be an average monsoon season with 5.25 inches of rainfall. Joining me now is Gilbert Trejo, Interim Chief Operations Officer for El Paso Water, and Jonathan Concha, the West Area Engineer for Texas Department of Transportation. Thank you both for being here. We just saw that recap video of our very wet monsoon season last year. The question is El Paso prepared for this year's monsoon? I start with Mr. Trejo. A lot of the stormwater infrastructure received damage last year. We actually have a slideshow. We want to show some before and after pictures to show what El Paso Water has been doing this year to repair the damage. Mr. Trejo, how much damage did El Paso see to the stormwater infrastructure from last year?
Well, first, thank you, Dylan, for having us here today. And yeah, last year was an unprecedented monsoon for El Paso. Several parts of town saw large amounts of water. Central part that saw the biggest damage, saw 4 inches of rain fall in about an hour. That represents about a 500-year storm, which again, unprecedented. It really starts there with describing what happened. Other parts of town saw 2 inches in a very short amount of time, which leads to the type of destruction that you saw. The infrastructure that we've built, the infrastructure that we continue to plan to build is designed for certain standards, and it's gonna stop the average amount of rainfall. But when you see the amount of rain that fell last year, in those cases, Mother Nature is very difficult to stop.
What are some of the most important projects that El Paso Water has completed this year that would greatly reduce flooding damage in El Paso if we do see another monsoon season where it's very wet?
It's a combination of maintaining the system and brand new projects. So we've increased our rates this last year. There's been a 9% rate increase that our customers are seeing in their bill that will give us the ability to do more maintenance to the system. And in addition, the additional funds is also going to allow us to build more projects. So some of the projects that are coming up in Northeast El Paso, we have the Will Ruth Pond is an important project for that part of town. On the west side, we have the Palisades Dam that's going to be built as well. There's a lot of protection downstream of that, including UTEP. So those are some of the bigger projects that that we have planned. And the 2008 Stormwater Master Plan identified several large projects that have been prioritized. We've been working on them. Unfortunately, these larger projects are the more complicated ones. They require land acquisition. They require coordination with a lot of agencies to get them done. So they're in queue. They've been prioritized, and we're getting them done.
We mentioned the stormwater fee. This year, for a typical residential property, anything between 1,200 and 3,000 square feet, it's a $4.92 charge. Anything below that is $2.46. Anything above that is a $9.83 charge. For those larger projects that are in the queue, you have to talk about getting funding for that, talk about land acquisition. Will there be any fee increases in the future for those projects?
So one of the things that the Public Service Board did, aside from approving the rate increase or the fee increase this year, was they set a financial plan. So there is a plan in place for over the next 10 years to complete upwards of $700 million worth of projects. This year alone, $70 million worth of projects is planned, but over the next 10 years, every year has to be approved by the Public Service Board a new rate increase. If the Public Service Board, if the city residents continue to demand these projects be done quickly and on pace, we are looking at future fee increases over the next 10 years. $1, if you want to think about it in simple terms, $1 a year for the next 10 years added to your stormwater fee is going to help us accomplish these $700 million worth of projects that I feel at this point people expect them to be done, and that's the plan that we're on.
What we saw in that video, I-10, especially around the central area, I-10, Piedra, Scopia, we see a lot of flooding on that road. Mr. Contra, I talk to you now. Is TxDOT doing anything to help with flooding on I-10? How do you prepare for storms like that to prevent or help out and mediate the flooding that we see on I-10, usually in the central area?
So like Gilbert mentioned, we did see unprecedented rain last year. As far as the downtown segment, that's actually part of our downtown project, the Downtown 10 that's coming. We currently have completed the drainage study in that area, and we're moving forward with the design. We actually have a public meeting in October of 2022. In regards to I-10, as far as preparations, we're out there working to make sure that we clear any inlets, any storm drains, culverts, things like that. We're moving debris, silt that's built up to help prevent any flooding, to kind of just mitigate that when we do start to receive the rains. Will
the new designs on I-10, the new I-10 project, will that help, or is there a certain aspect of that design to help with flooding?
So currently, like I mentioned, the design is currently underway. So based on the study, we'll be making design improvements to help with the water that we receive there.
Okay, well, we'll take a quick break right now. We'll come back and we'll continue this discussion. You're watching ABC-7 Xtra. Stay with us.
You found the perfect home. Now make it yours with GECU. For a limited time, take advantage of savings up to $2,500 on closing costs when you finance your mortgage with GECU. Combine that with GECU's competitive rates and affordable payment options and save big money. You can even refinance your existing home. Now that's savings. Apply now at GECU.com. But hurry, sale ends soon.
This isn't just any burger. This is a Whataburger Bacon Blue Cheese Burger. It's bigger, bolder, and baconier. Made to order with blue cheese crumbles on 2 fresh all-beef patties, grilled onions, crispy bacon, and our own peppercorn ranch. This burger is for someone who demands the best, but is super nice about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Whataburger's all-new Bacon Blue Cheese Burger. Just like you like it.
The New Mexico Supreme Court affirmed a $165 million jury verdict against FedEx for a highway crash.
We've gone to trial against FedEx. The offer was minimal, and we ended up with one of the largest verdicts in the nation that year. Every client of ours deserves their day in court if they want it.
We got one of the largest verdicts in the state of New Mexico, and we've consistently had the largest verdicts in our area. There's nothing scary about taking on anybody. I'm not afraid of them.
We're a trial firm. That's what we do.
We know you count on ABC-7 to keep you informed.
Our Alert Center brings you breaking news as it happens.
We put our experience to work for you every day.
Finding stories you won't see anywhere else in Texas and New Mexico.
We make it clear and understandable.
bringing you extra context, depth, and perspective.
Our team is always tracking.
And first to alert you to any important weather changes.
ABC-7, where news comes first.
The team you know,
the team you trust.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. We are joined again by Gilbert Trejo with El Paso Water and Jonathan Concha with TxDOT. Debris in our ditches and drainage inlets can compound to our flooding problem. Mr. Trejo, El Paso Water has an illegal dumping program. I think we have some video that you provided for us to show what your team does. Explain to us, what is the illegal dumping program?
Well, the intent of the program is to have and encourage folks to report illegal dumping. You know, a lot of the issues that we have, localized flooding issues that people see in their neighborhoods or near their streets, is really caused by illegal dumping or littering. This debris gets caught in our storm inlets. The larger debris gets caught in the actual pipes, and some of these pipes could be 6 feet in diameter, and there's enough trash in there to clog them up. So the intent of the program is to encourage everyone to report illegal dumping and for everyone, frankly, to do their part in their own neighborhoods as well. A lot of the times the issues, again, are just caused by just regular debris and trash stuck in their inlet. Before it rains, if folks see trash, just normal debris and trash in their inlets in their neighborhoods, you know, do your part. You can pick it up, and that'll really relieve a lot of the flooding issues that people see in their neighborhoods or in their streets.
I mean, we see how big some of these pieces, some of these debris, we see couches in there, large trees, plants. How long does it take to really clear out an inlet once it does get clogged during a storm?
So it depends on the length of the conduit. So the inlet itself could be cleaned out within a day, 2 days, depending on how much debris is there. We've invested in new equipment so that we can move these mini dozers into the drainage channel themselves. These channels are large, so we can put these mini dozers and large equipment to remove it. So the inlet itself can be cleared within a day. The conduit itself, if there's no inlet, then all of this large debris gets lodged into the conduit itself. These conduits could be several 100 feet long, and then getting our workers safely in and out of these conduits is where it could take a little bit longer. But again, we've staffed up so that we can react quicker to these reports of illegal dumping. And again, as long as we can get ahead of it, it'll just make matters better.
And Mr. Trejo, El Paso Water does work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Last year, there was an announcement that both your departments were combining to do a study of central El Paso flooding. It's a 3-year study that would cost $3 million. You would split the cost between the two of you. How's that going right now? Can you provide any details in that study so far? The project's going well. So working with the Corps of Engineers as a funding partner, they've agreed to fund the feasibility study. The Corps of Engineers wants to understand the impact, the risks involved with these dams working properly. So that's the stage that we're in right now. The next stage after that would be them funding the design phase where the actual improvements to these dams would take place. This is a very important project because although a lot of improvements and investment has been done into the central part of town, there's still a lot more that can be done. There's at least 10 dams in this area that can be improved, can be heightened so that they could retain more water before they release it down into the lower structures, ultimately getting to those 2 large ponds along I-10 and Piedras that have been built. But this is just one example of just more work that needs to be done in the central area. Yeah, 10 dams you just mentioned right there, at least 10 dams, so we could expect a lot more projects once this study is done. Yes. Okay. Moving to you, Mr. Concha, we do see a lot of cars get stranded on I-10, on Mesa, even McRae. We had a video there in our last segment where 3 cars were almost completely submerged. What is the message? What's the advice to those drivers when we do see these heavy rains when they're on the roadways?
The first thing would be to consider whether you need to be out on the roadway. You know, if it's something that can wait, you know, stay home, don't be out in the streets. If you do need to absolutely travel, you know, make sure you check the websites, look at the conditions of the road. You can visit drivetexas.org to see the current conditions, if we have any closures. If you're out on the streets already, look at our DMS signs. You can see if there's any traffic incidents, any flooding on the roadway. And if there is any flooding, you know, make sure that, you know, don't drive through it. Remember the words, turn around, don't drown. Even some of the minor flooding, we don't know what's underneath. You could have down power lines, debris, things like that that can disable your car.
Yeah, you talk about the debris that could be under that water level. What kind of resources does TxDOT have to help clear off those major roadways?
So usually we'll use some of our bigger equipment, loaders, things like that, to remove the debris that's in the road. However, once the water's out there, we'll have to wait till that's subsided. We'll use pumps to remove the water, or vector trucks to remove that. We'll rely on sometimes our contractors to call them in to help out with those services.
Okay, thank you both for joining us. You're watching ABC-7 Extra. Still ahead, we'll hear from the director of the city's street and maintenance department to see how they're preparing for this year's monsoon season. Stay with us.
One of the biggest fears that we see from so many folks is, have we done a good enough job financially as we go on through the retirement years? I think retirement should look like, every day being a Saturday. We want to have freedom to go do the things that we can do, and we're going to help you understand the tools that will help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. What I get out of that is such an incredible fulfillment of being able to help you get to where you want to be.
Hi, Jerry Slaughter with Mission Chevrolet. In El Paso, the temperatures may be rising, but at Mission, the prices are falling. Come get a great deal on a brand new Silverado Crew Cab starting at only $589 a month. Shop Mission Chevrolet, where it's all about you.
For context, depth, and perspective you won't see anywhere else, tune into ABC-7 Sunday Extra.
You think there should be a change in gun laws in the state of Texas?
Join Dylan McKim Sunday nights at 10:35 as he brings in-depth debates on the borderland's most pressing matters.
What programs are in the budget proposal right now that are keeping streets maintained or improved?
The big stories, impactful issues, tough, fair discussions, only on ABC-7 Sunday Extra. Congratulations to Eric Elkin, ABC-7 Chief Photographer John McMinn, and Art Director Eric Bowers for winning first place in the Texas Broadcast News Awards for their story Right Away about a UTEP football player answering a higher calling.
Welcome back to ABC-7 Extra. Joining me now is Richard Bristol, the city's Street and Maintenance Director. Richard, thank you very much for joining us, and we want to ask you, after these monsoon events that we have, the heavy raining, large flooding we have, what does the Streets and Maintenance Department do?
Well, actually, we start responding to a storm event before it starts, whenever possible. When we know it's going to rain, we start the process of planning and organizing the resources, staffing, and equipment that we're going to need to respond. And then during an event, it's very important, whenever possible, for us to be out there scouting and assessing for damages as the rain event is happening. Sometimes it's hard to do this in the evenings, but it's not so difficult during the day. And the value of doing this is we're able to see problems while they're happening and start dealing with them. In reality, when it comes to a storm event, the sooner we start dealing with the problems that we get, the better off we are. And that's why we try to push more proactive dealing with it prior to it being over. Once a storm event is completed and the rains are over, it quickly becomes an issue of potholes and weeds. And our emphasis quickly turns to that. There's a lot of cleanup that's associated with the rain event that could take up to a month for one rain event for us. So when we have multiple events in a week, it really hits us hard. But after an event, to go back to your original question, potholes and weeds are a very significant concern for us, and we like to prioritize that over any other service that's not tied to public safety after an event to make sure we're dealing with these things quickly. But after an event is a very difficult time for us. It's a time of assessing. It's a time of learning where the damage is. And it's a time of coming up with a plan and executing it to basically restore the city to pre-storm conditions.
Last year, we had such a heavy monsoon season. When it rained hard and a lot of flooding. It took all those rocks on our medians and people's front yards, brought them into the road, a lot of sand, a lot of silt in the roads. Last year, staffing was an issue for cleanup last year for the Streets and Maintenance Department. What were the challenges your department faced last year when trying to do cleanup after those monsoon events?
Well, I think the real challenge was the intensity of the rain events and the locations where the rain fell. Some areas were hit multiple times, requiring us to respond and clean them up multiple times. In general, the worse the monsoon rain is, the more is going to be required from us. So the biggest challenge last year, I would say, was the complexity and the size of these events. And we have our staffing and our resourcing issues, as do all of the other agencies in town. And it seems to be a national trend. So aside from following on that, we're more focused on finding smarter ways to get things done. And last year, what we learned during that process was it's definitely possible to approach a storm response very proactively and possibly different than we had traditionally, so long as we're doing it in a smart fashion. And that's where our partnerships with the water utility and Xtra come in handy. But it was just a significant rain event last year, and I believe that was our larger challenge.
Are there any vacancies in the department this year?
Yes, sir. There are vacancies. We're carrying over 200 vacancies at present time.
And what percentage of full workforce is that? Is that 40% vacancies?
Well, our staffing complement throughout the entire department is about 670. So to be carrying around 200 is sizable. But again, what that forces us to do is to find smarter ways to get the work done.
What are the smarter ways you're finding to counteract those 200 spots that are missing?
Well, we're really doing two things. One, cross-functional teams within the city. We have partnered up with the Environmental Services Department on the monsoon cleanup effort for the summer. They have a beautification team that goes and cleans vacant lots, and they do a very fine job at it. That's not too dissimilar from the cleaning process that our median crews have. Mm-hmm. So by merging them during the monsoon event and having the additional set of hands to help us clean, that puts more employees on the street to do the cleaning. So that's an example of trying to work smarter with the resources that we do have. And then the second thing we're doing is bringing in third-party contracts to also assist us.
Is that like street sweepers? What are those third parties doing?
No, our third-party contracts that we're bringing in will mostly be for helping us clean the medians and for herbicide spraying.
Okay. We talked a little bit about preparations when you do see a storm coming. What kind of preparations go into preparing areas of the road or maybe the medians to make sure that if it does rain hard that it's not going to put a lot of debris out into the road?
Well, the most important thing is, and this is a very serious issue in our community, is making sure all the storm grates are cleared. Mm-hmm. So we do work with the water utility to address the storm grates. And to be honest with you, that's part of the reason the city emphasizes cleaning up, not having debris sitting out in front of your yards that can get washed into the streets during a rain event. Anything that we can do to prevent a storm inlet from being clogged during a rain event is going to have a substantial impact on how that water flows during a rain event. So any kind of advanced work should include checking all the storm inlets and making sure they're not clogged and making sure there's nothing to obstruct the flow of water within the conveyance system.
You mentioned that you rely on the community there to make sure that their front yards are clear of debris because those can, like you said, go into storm drains and block the flow of water, create more flooding. How much do you rely on the community to notify you of problems on neighborhood roads, that maybe there's potholes there or a lot of debris that went out into the road?
Very much, sir. The community is our best set of eyes and ears on the street. There are only a finite number of employees within the city, but there are 6,000 streets within our community. Mm-hmm. So the community, the public sees this before we do in most cases. So it's very pertinent that the public report problems that they're seeing resulting from rain. It could be a pothole, it could be an obstruction causing flooding. But if we don't have notification, we can't get in and assess and repair So the importance of the public is pertinent. We cannot accomplish what we need to do during a monsoon season without the assistance from the public.
I believe you said, you can correct me if I'm wrong, earlier in this interview, after a monsoon event, it takes about roughly a month to get the streets completely clean, the medians cleaned, weeds, potholes. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. And it could be, depending on the size of the event, it could be worse and it could be better. But the given rule of thumb is we find ourselves dealing with the effects of a rain event for up to 4 weeks after the event, be it sweeping, be it by the time we were able to get through all of the medians in the city and get the herbicide and the cleaning done. There's a lot of things that need to be done to restore our infrastructure network after an event, and it does take time.
So really the message here, I think, to a lot of El Pasoans after a rain event is patience.
Patience, but more so we want the community to call 311 if you're seeing something that does not look correct or right or dangerous. That way we can get in there and deal with it.
Richard Bristol, thank you very much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure. And thank you for joining us for ABC-7 Extra. I'm your host, Dylan McKim. Have a great start to your week.